ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the divisional round. We got an highly anticipated matchup here between the number 2 seed Buffalo Bills and the number 3 seed Cincinnati Bengals. Both teams were slightly to very underwhelming at times during the wild card games, and now both are looking to keep their seasons alive in what should be a fantastic matchup. But before I get to that, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. But now let's talk about the Bills offense, who were pretty sloppy to say the least in their 34-31 victory over the Miami Dolphins. It really felt like it was a home run ball or nothing at all for this unit. And some of the plays dialed up by offensive coordinator Ken Dorsey were a bit surprising at times. He avoided checkdowns and the easy passes for Allen and just told him to hit the streak route or hit the go route going down on the sidelines. Whether that was Stephon Diggs, who had 114 reception yards, all of them coming in the first half, or Gabe Davis, who has turned into clutch playoff big game Gabe again in that last Miami game. And now, outside of those two, there was actually real production. The good thing for the Bills offense, outside of the turnovers, which I will get to, is that production was pretty split across the board. Cole Beasley had a couple touches. Dawson Knox had an insane touchdown grab. Khalil Shakir kind of broke out with a 50-yard performance against the Dolphins. But all of this is mired and viewed with tinted glasses because the Bills were very sloppy and committed 3 turnovers on offense. 2 of them interceptions, one of which was a bad decision by Josh Allen. He was throwing downfield again, looking for John Brown, and it was picked off by Xavier Howard. And then the other one was picked off by Javon Holland after Cole Beasley tipped it up into the air on probably what should have been a catch. And the fumble, oh boy, the fumble was just on Josh Allen. An unrecognized blitz coming from the Dolphins, cover 0. They were able to get to Allen. He probably should have kept onto the ball, and it was recovered in the end zone for a Miami touchdown. The Bills really got to limit these turnovers. They cannot play this sloppy against the Bengals defense. And speaking of the Bengals defense, they were in a bend but don't break kind of mindset against the Baltimore Ravens, which you probably don't want to be because the Ravens were being led by imitation Tyler Huntley. It was a tough performance for this unit. The Bengals gave up over 300 yards of offense to the Ravens, who have struggled to put up even a 200 in the last couple of weeks. Tyler Huntley had some big plays down the sidelines, mainly to his speedy wide receivers in Sammy Watkins, but it was a little difficult for the Bengals because they really should have given up another touchdown. But the big play of the week, a 98-yard fumble recovery by Sam Hubbard. He raced 17 miles per hour all the way back down the field for a go-ahead touchdown and eventually a game-winning touchdown. The Bengals were able to stifle the Ravens in the red zone thanks to some big-time pressuring from Trey Hendrickson and the aforementioned Sam Hubbard. But they don't want to have to rely on this against the Bills because the Bills were 3 for 4 in the red zone on Sunday. The Bengals, they'll need to limit the ground game and turn the Bills one-dimensional again, and they have the tools to do that, whether it be B.J. Hill or DJ Reader on the inside, or with their really solid linebackers in Logan Wilson. The Bengals need to do a little bit more. They're going to have to clamp down even harder than what they did on Sunday. And it'll be hard because Eli Apple looked pretty banged up on that Sunday night game. We'll see what the Bengals do, and we'll also see what the Bengals offense does because it was a very shaky performance from them. Joe Burrow only threw for a little over 200 yards. And outside of Jamar Chase, there was no production from their other wideouts or tight ends. Hayden Hurst had less than 20 yards. T. Higgins had less than 40 yards as well. And Joe Mixon was almost non-existent. His ground game was not a factor at all in the Ravens game. And despite the Bills being a worse defensive team, arguably, than the Baltimore Ravens, expect them to really stifle the ground game. So if there's anywhere for the Bengals to attack, it will either be seam routes or slants going across the middle of the field. They will need to do that. And we saw a little bit of that in the Week 17 game that was eventually, unfortunately, canceled with some nice little slants from Hayden Hurst or T. Higgins or Jamar Chase targeting Tre'Davious White on the outside. They'll have to do more of that because the Bills are going to be energized. The crowd will be loud, and they will not have that home field advantage they could have had a couple of weeks ago. And speaking of the Bills' defense, they are also looking to keep their good play up. And it was a weird performance from them because on paper they gave up 24 points because one of those touchdowns came from a Allen fumble. But the Bills' defense really played well. They shouldn't have even given up 24 points because they had a couple of turnovers and Kaiir Elam was playing a fantastic game, which let me sidetrack here and talk about Elam because the rookie cornerback from Florida has been in and out of the Bills lineup all season long. But on Sunday, he really turned it up. He had an interception, almost had two, and he had the game-sealing pass breakup on 4th and 6 late in the fourth quarter. He was fantastic. He was a little banged up after that pass breakup, but by all indications, it seems like Elam will be playing this weekend for the Bills. Now, outside of him in the secondary, it was a little rough. Tre'Davious White is still slowly working up to his full speed after that ACL tear and subsequent recovery. Though he did look better. He had some key pass breakups against Jalen Waddle, who was able to punch the ball loose a couple of times. And you can tell he's getting closer to full speed, but he's not quite there. And Jordan Poyer, he's been playing through a knee injury and a rib injury and whatever else he can think of. Poyer's been through it all. He's been battling through it, and he's done a fine job. On the other end will be Dean Marlowe, who has replaced Damar Hamlin. Still, prayers for Hamlin. Dean Marlowe had a huge interception early in the first quarter, and it will be good for Buffalo to really keep things going there. Now, in their pass rush, things got really good because Greg Rousseau was fantastic. Boogie Basham had his best game of the season. And while Matt Milano is a linebacker, he was able to get 2 sacks and hurry the quarterback multiple times. They really made Skylar Thompson feel uncomfortable. So, with all of that out of the way, here's what our BSC panel is predicting for this divisional round matchup. It's going to be an even game, I expected, and it may come down to who has the ball last. So, let's see those predictions.
Allen again, he's got a wide open tight end on the outside. Dawson Knox breaks a few tackles, barrels through another one. He's inside the 25-yard line. Battering ram.
Reminded me of a rookie Jeremy Shockey with the New York Giants. Very similar play Shockey had